Hi everyone, welcome to Monday Positivity, the space where we explore the depths of personal growth and self discovery. My name is Parul, your host, and today's episode is a journey into the shadows, a topic that often makes us uncomfortable but holds the key to profound transformation. We all have aspects of ourselves that we prefer to keep in the shadows, hidden from our conscious awareness. This is what Swiss psychologist Carl Jung referred to as the shadow. It's the repository of our unconscious, unacknowledged emotions and trait. And there are many shadows, many traits. Today we're zooming in on one particular emotion that often lurks in the shadows. I'm talking about anger. It's more than just a burst of emotion. It's a messenger telling us about unhealed parts of ourselves. And if you try to understand, if you try to unpack the shadow of anger, it can be a powerful guide pointing us toward unmet needs and unresolved issues. It's not merely a negative force, but a signal that something within us requires attention and healing. And the unhealed version of anger often stems from past experiences, unmet needs, or unaddressed wounds. It's crucial to recognize that anger is a symptom, not the root cause. So, this is what we are going to talk about today. Um, I'll also help you understand uh, your own journey from unhealed to healed anger and how you can transform the unhealed version of anger into a force for healing and growth. And it all begins with acknowledging and embracing the shadow. As we delve into our own shadows, we uncover the unmet needs and wounds that fuel our anger. And this awareness is the first step towards healing and personal transformation. So, integrating and healing. Healing the shadow of anger involves understanding and meeting, those unmet needs. And it's about integrating the lessons and wisdom that the anger carries. And remember, the goal is not to eliminate anger, but to transform it into a tool for self discovery and growth. Okay, so I'll try to explain the concept of the shadow, a few examples of how anger can manifest, how this shadow manifests, and what it might indicate, and then, process of shadow work and some tools to for you to, to help you integrate this shadow. And I've also written a blog post on the same topic. If you're interested in that, I'll put the link to my website in the description box. If you want, you can read that article as well. And yeah, so now let me help you understand the concept of shadow and how anger can manifest as your shadow. Let's first understand the concept of the shadow. This concept originates from Carl Jung's depth psychology. The shadow represents the unconscious and repressed aspects of ourselves, the parts we deny, we ignore, or we find them, socially unacceptable. And these can include suppressed emotions, desires, and traits that we deem undesirable or incompatible with our self image. If we want to portray certain image, uh, we want to uh, look a certain type in society, we would find certain traits undesirable or incompatible with that self image. And that creates a shadow. The shadow is not inherently negative, it's a reservoir of untapped potential. It contains aspects we perceive as positive and negative. Now, anger is one shadow and it can manifest in different ways, and it is often seen as a negative emotion. but it serves as a signal for underlying issues. Now, let me share with you certain examples of how anger can manifest and what it might indicate. The number one manifestation of anger is in the form of explosive outbursts. We all know that, right? These outbursts can be sudden, these can be intense, right? Intense bursts of anger, and they indicate unprocessed emotions or long standing frustration. So, if you are frustrated for a long time, or if you have not dealt with certain emotions, it can lead to sudden bursts of anger in certain moments. Another manifestation of anger is passive aggressiveness. You will see many people who show this behavior. They do so by expressing anger indirectly through subtle behaviors. Subtle behaviors meaning they'll stop talking to you, maybe, or it can lead to sarcasm. They will start giving you, unhealthy comments, or maybe, taunting you or something, right? It is passive aggressiveness. So they have this anger, but they are not able to find an outlet for it. So it leads to this passive behavior. And the reason could be that they are not able to confront their difficult issues directly. They are not able to voice their concerns. They are not able to deal with the actual problem. And so they are finding indirect ways to deal with it. Another manifestation could be chronic irritability. Sometimes you will see certain people are all irritated all the time. They show uh, they you will see persistent irritability. They are always frustrated. They are always grumpy. It can also be a sign of unresolved internal conflicts, or maybe there are certain unmet needs. Again, they are not able to meet those needs. They are not able to find a way to meet those needs. They are not able to resolve their internal conflicts, and it leads to frustration. Self criticism is another form of anger. And this type of anger is actually anger turned inward, right? And the manifestation is self criticism. So you are not able to express your anger, you are not able to set healthy boundaries. You know something makes you angry, but you can't do anything about it, and it leads to self criticism. It leads to feelings of inadequacy. Why feelings of inadequacy? Because you are not able to deal with it. And anger has physical symptoms too. It can manifest physically, it can lead to headaches, digestive issues, and many other health problems, right? And once you understand these manifestations, you can now, understand the deeper messages that, anger carries about your unmet needs, about your fears, about your wounds, about your unresolved issues, internal conflicts. Conflicts can be external also, but again, you're not dealing with them. Now, let us understand the process of shadow work. So, I've taken one example, shadow of anger. You can pick any shadow and understand that shadow work is a transformative process of exploring the shadow and integrating the contents of that shadow. And what are the steps you can take while doing so? The step number one is self reflection. So, first, you have to be aware that, yes, this is my shadow. You have to begin by acknowledging and identifying aspects of yourself that you tend to suppress or deny. And this requires honest self reflection. You have to be brutally honest with yourself. You cannot say, I can't deal with it. I cannot accept this aspect of my personality. I cannot accept it, accept this about myself. This is not part of my personality. You can't do that. If you think this is your shadow, yes, it is your shadow. Deal with it, right? That comes with self reflection. You need to reflect. And I'll tell you, if you're able to identify a shadow in someone else, you also have that in you, right? So that shadow is also part of yourself. Okay. Again, you just need to reflect. Self reflection is the key. Step number two is being aware of the triggers. So pay attention to situations or people that trigger intense emotional reactions. It doesn't have to be anger only, it can be anything. It could be fear, it could be loneliness, it could be, isolation, it could be feelings of not feeling good enough, right? Pay attention to those situations because it's not like, so shadow is a part of you, a part of your personality, but it's not like you are carrying it with you all the time, or not all the time. I would say it's not like it gets manifested every single day. Only in certain situations or with certain people around you, these shadows are manifested. So you need to pay attention to those situations and those people that trigger reactions, right? And these triggers will point to shadow elements. So that's step number two. Once you have self reflected, once you have understood this is the shadow and these are the triggers, these are the situations where it shows up, now you need to start asking difficult questions. You need to explore your childhood experiences. You need to examine childhood experiences that may have contributed to the development of your shadow. You need to identify patterns and beliefs formed during this time. And it sounds very simple when I say that you need to, start exploring your childhood experiences, and maybe we will find certain experiences on surface level. But once you start doing shadow work, it goes way beyond that. And if you actually do the work, you will find patterns and beliefs that even you were not aware of. Even you were not aware that you have those beliefs. You had those patterns and the cause of those patterns and beliefs. So that's the beauty of it. And once you understand that, once you start asking those difficult questions, and once you start, this whole process, it will start, your different shadows will unfold. uh, you know Once you start the work, then another difficult step is to accept, acceptance. You have to embrace and accept the shadow without judgment. You have to recognize that these aspects are a natural part of being human. And once you have started accepting that, and not just accept, I'm not saying accept your shadows, you should also show compassion toward other beings, because they also have those shadows, and maybe they are not aware of the concept, and they haven't started, they are not working on their shadows, or their wounded shadows, I would say. So acceptance also leads to compassion for yourself and for others. And then comes the work, right? Then comes the work of integration. You have to work on integrating the positive aspects of the shadow into your conscious self. And this involves incorporating newfound awareness into your daily life and your decision making. So every time you're angry, you don't have to react. You have to understand why you get angry, what makes you angry, how can you start resolving those issues, what are the needs, what are your unmet needs, how can you start meeting those needs. Is it about not setting healthy boundaries? Is it about people not validating your needs or your feelings? Then it's your job to start doing the work. If people are not doing it, why do you care so much? Why do you think they are responsible for meeting those needs or validating your emotions? Why can't you do it for yourself? Right? So, we were talking about anger, then it leads to self esteem, right? Maybe you think that you are not worthy enough, you cannot validate your needs. Then start asking why. Why do you think so? Why, right? Um, and this is how you start integrating your shadows, start working on it. And there are different tips or exercises I can share with you. There are different tools for shadow integration because that's the most important part. Obviously, acceptance is also the most important part, but then integrating, the integration that will help you feel complete, that will help you feel whole, right? So, my favorite tool is journaling. So, you have to, and I told you it's not one day process. uh, you know it's going to be a newfound awareness. You have to incorporate it into your daily life, right? And that will come with journaling, regularly journaling about your emotions, your reactions, and your experiences. It will reveal patterns and help you identify elements of your shadow and your unmet needs and unresolved issues. Another practice is mindfulness and meditation. You can practice mindfulness, you can meditate for 5 minutes every day. Create a space for observing your thoughts and emotions without judgment, allowing for greater self awareness. And creative expression is also a very good way to deal with your shadows. You can paint, you can color, you can write, you can find many other creative outlets. Dance, you can also dance. All these outlets can serve as powerful tools for expressing and exploring the hidden aspects of yourself. And you also need to start confronting your fears. Gradually, confront fears and discomfort associated with the shadow. This can involve facing challenging situations or addressing long standing issues. And if you feel it's not an easy task, you can't do it alone, engaging in therapy with a qualified professional will help you. It will provide you a structured and supportive environment for exploring your shadow. So, if nothing works, you can always go for therapeutic support, right? And remember, it's not one day process, it's not one day work, it is an ongoing process. And self compassion is so important, it is crucial throughout the journey of integration and personal growth when you start working with your shadows and when you start the shadow work.